Kubor Nagaslem Jong Unongsan Hima.
Reading this, it's not an easy decision to take. Please remember that we are looking at livelihood versus overall health situation. Then that's the reason why when one of you had asked me that the 5,000 figure, you see, we kept that as a benchmark in our mind that, look, if this 5,000 touches, then we're looking, because I told you we had 300 beds, 50 beds in oxygen. Now we looked at approximately 7% people requiring bed. I'm talking about 3 weeks back. So when we did that calculation, we realized that if we have 5,000 people positive, these 350 beds will be full. So while this is happening, let's slow down the process of these positive cases coming in, bump up our investment to create the beds. We've touched 750 now from 350, and we're going to reach 1,000. And so obviously that 7% of that happens, then you can make the calculations as to what numbers. So it's like we're going with this graph moving ahead, and we're moving with the graph of the growth of the hospitals also. So therefore, we anticipated this entire situation and realized that while we were below 1,000, we realized that there is a huge possibility that we will touch 5,000. And before we reached 1,000, we put the lockdown. And that's why it was done at that point in time. And we did it slightly watching the situation, because we realized also that closing things down will affect the livelihood of the people. And somewhere we need to find a balance. But then when we realized that the growth rate was moving in a line where by May 12th, we expected that we'll touch 5,000. Today is May 17th. So I don't know if you remember, I gave you these projections that time also. So we managed to slow down things, and instead of 12th of March, May, it's the 17th of May we're touching 5,000. But if the trend continues, we will go beyond 7,000, 8,000, maybe even 10,000, in a short time. So we need to continue to ramp up our beds and our oxygen plants and oxygen beds, and continue our restrictions in the way it is, so that we can, slow down the spread of this virus and move ahead with our vaccination program, and hope that we get the sufficient stocks from central government. So we're looking at a tough situation for the next few weeks, but if the society and the state works together, we are sure that we'll be able to overcome this very difficult phase of maybe 2 to 3 weeks, where we are seeing rise in cases, pressure on the healthcare system, shortage of the vaccination. So all these aspects are adding to a lot of pressure, but we hope that we will see things improve once this particular phase is over. The senior coalition partner, he has said his comments at his own personal level. But I would like to say here that this is not about failing or succeeding, or who's doing things right or wrong. This is a situation where we all are in it, whether we like it or not. And really, if you were to condemn and look at every single act as being wrong and always finding a fault in every situation, it really doesn't help right now. We're not trying here to win a war or battle with each other. It's a battle we are fighting against an enemy that's common to all of us. So I would urge all the political leaders that this is not the time to be condemning or be finding faults in everything that has been done. There may be mistakes. I don't deny that, because there is really no perfect solution. Sometimes we go right, then the person who would be wanting to criticize, they say, why did you go right? You should have gone left. So this is unending. But my point and my appeal as Chief Minister is that this is not the time for blame game. This is not the time to find faults, but this is a time for positive, suggestions. And we are definitely open to positive suggestions. Just a few days back, I received a letter from some of the opposition MLAs, and they gave very good suggestions. And I'm happy to inform them and you that we have taken those suggestions in a positive manner, and most of those suggestions have already been implemented. In fact, we'll be talking about that on Wednesday. So therefore, at large, that let us avoid criticism at this point in time. This is not false propaganda on social media. It really is affecting the morale of doctors and frontline workers and officials who work day and night without sleeping. Just a few days back in some hospital, some of the patients complained that the oxygen system was not working. I don't want to name the place, nor the location, nor the patients, but I'm giving an example. and they started making it a big issue, only to find out later on that those patients, they played around with the oxygen controller and increased the oxygen supply themselves without informing the person who was manning it. And then obviously the cylinder, it is maintained at a certain speed and a certain thing for a certain number of hours. And then they said that there was not enough oxygen in that cylinder for them. Expenditure, of course, I don't have the breakup with me right now, but I'll be very happy to maybe come out with a separate press release giving you the exact details so that the clarity is there. So we can just make a note of that. You can tell finance to just prepare the details. So yes, the expenditure has crossed, of course, 400 crores, which you mentioned. But we are seeing that this time around the expenditures may not be as high as what we had last time. The reason for that is that last time things were very chaotic, and there was no time to really decide or think whether it's the right or the wrong thing. We had to pay for people coming back. We had to pay for the people to stay. We had to pay for the doctors and the other people in the hospitals to stay in the hotels. We had to give money for laborers. We had to, pay for different kind of entrepreneurship programs. So we really, that point in time, the whole country, in fact, faced with a unforeseen kind of a situation. And that led us to really making sure that we don't leave any stone unturned. Now, this year, seeing the experience of what we went through last year, I'm not saying it gives us a kind of a blueprint on what to do, not to do, but at least it gives us some kind of an idea of where we could manage things better, where we could, reduce our cost. Does that mean that we'll compromise on the health of the people? Absolutely not. That's the reason why when we were put up the question of spending money for the vaccination, we said immediately, no question asked, 100 crores we will spend to get the vaccination. It is absolutely worth it. When it came to setting up the infrastructure, we said that no question asked, immediately go ahead and create the infrastructures. So we are in a better position to at least decide on where to spend in a much more better manner and where we could minimize our expenditure. I'm not saying cut cost is not the correct word, but minimize the expenditure and how to balance. Now, talking about resources, most of the resources are coming out from our own resource, from the taxes that we are getting from, the central government, which is the devolution of the taxes that we have and our own taxes which we have. So with that, we are managing the situation right now. And but we need to see how the next few months go at a global and national level, how the economy is impacted. And based on that, we'll come to know how the overall situation of the state will be in terms of finances. So right now, we're managing with the resources that we have of our own. And them, or because they may have just felt that they need to increase it, but they could have asked the attendant to do it. But my point is that, just coming out with false information, I would urge people not to forward some kind of an exciting message they get just because it's exciting. Please verify if it's correct or not. A lot of people have been giving false information about the vaccination, false information about oxygen, false information about beds. So it's not like that. Today, in spite of the challenges we face, I'll just to give a small example of the kind of work that's going on. So today we have a simple technology called WhatsApp. And we have a WhatsApp group on oxygen management. This WhatsApp group on oxygen management has got all the hospital nodal officers, one officer from the government as a member of that particular hospital. It has a chief minister and the other ministers also on it, and the chief secretary, and certain officials from the transport, from police. And at any given time, this whole group knows that how many cylinders are there right now in Nazareth. Nazareth Hospital, the cylinders are going down. Can we borrow from Supercare for some time? Because the stock for Supercare is coming by 6 o'clock in the evening. The driver who's bringing it. This kind of a coordination that is going on today has helped us to be able to manage whatever cylinders we had in the last, 700 cylinders we had in the last 2-3 weeks, and now we are at 1500. But it helped us to manage the entire process. So that's the kind of detailed planning and work and implementation that's going on at all levels. I'm not here to share with you all those things because it'll take too much of time. But what I'm trying to say is that a lot of people are working very hard at this point in time to fight this. So yes, if you have a positive suggestion to make, we are very happy to look at it. But this is not the time, as I said, to criticize everything that government does. We're not saying we're doing everything correct. We could be making mistakes. That's natural because it's a very complicated situation we're facing. But it doesn't help. I'm okay with criticism. But when you say something, it affects a doctor, it affects an officer who has been not sleeping at all. And so please be understanding of that. Apply to this particular question will be. There will be a financial strain, not just for our state. Every state in the country, the whole world will. The question is how we are able to manage things and utilize the funds in the best possible manner. And that's really what we're trying to do. And we also realize, as I said, that it's worth spending on certain investments and infrastructure, because that will reduce our burden in the coming months or days if the situation does not improve. We realize that it's important to support the private hospitals because the government will do its part. But if private hospitals, which are doing a tremendous job, and I must really congratulate them and thank them for the kind of continuous work they're doing and the dedication that they have shown, not just private hospitals, doctors and nurses and staff, even our government hospitals, they're really going through a lot of strain and stress. And we need to be with them and we need to really appreciate what they're doing. And therefore, we have decided that we'll support the private hospitals also in terms of their running expenditures if necessary for getting manpower or even to invest in some kind of investment in equipments in case they need to improve the infrastructure. So it's like that. So we have to use the funds, whatever we have, in a much more judicious manner. For the 45 plus are available in all the districts and the vaccination is going on. Here's numbers. Okay, so that's a good number. He said that 80% of the vaccination centers are still for 45 plus. So therefore, the vaccination program is going on as planned. Of course, there is a large shortage in the supply of the vaccination, and that is what is causing a bit of inconvenience for the people. But we are trying to manage with whatever quota that we're getting. We are hopeful that, as we all have been reading in the press and the news, that we are hopeful that in the coming weeks, the production will go up. We have seen that India would be able to touch close to 15 crore of vaccines in a month, per month, by say July, August. So if those kind of numbers touch in and slowly the numbers go up, then we should be able to see the vaccination program improve. So we are waiting for the supplies. Cooperating, we have seen that there have been restrictions to a large level. But yes, you're right. We need to have more compliance from the public point of view. So this issue was discussed. We saw that certain market areas were getting crowded. So instructions have been given to the DC to close those areas and those markets down completely. And wherever the norms are not being followed, we are going very aggressively and closing those, those areas down. And now, as I said, this is not a fight that the government will do on its own. We will play our role, but the discipline from the society is very, very important. So therefore, we have been understanding that people need the basics. People need, to get their food and everything. So we had given a bit of relaxation in those areas. But wherever we are seeing that people are not adhering to the protocols, we are closing those sections down. So yes, we have seen this kind of a trend. But by and large, we have seen that people have been compliant. But there have been different cases of areas and markets where people did not follow the protocol. And we are taking stern action and closing those sections down. We have got a cycle or we got a formula for this. It's very difficult to predict. But seeing what's happening in the rest of the country today, the curve, once the lockdown comes in, once there are strict restrictions that come in, once people start following these restrictions, you're seeing that 3 to 4 weeks time to around 5 weeks time, you see suddenly things do start flattening down. Now, will that apply to us? We don't know yet, but we're hopeful that it will. And obviously, we have to also see that, as I said, it's not that the lockdown, we have it today and tomorrow the numbers come down. It takes time for that trend to take place. And more importantly, vaccination is something that's very critical. So we are really pushing. I had a telephonic conversation with Dr. Harshvardhan yesterday, and I requested him that our state population is not as large. So maybe a strategy of saturation could be one way to ensure that at least few circles and few states and regions become fully vaccinated. So I'm hopeful that we'll get a positive response for that. Even if we don't get so I put in that request to the Honorable Minister. So vaccination is going to be a key part of our strategy, but while that happens, containment and really preventive process is the only way to really fight this. We need to carry on with our lives, but at the same time, we need to ensure that we take the basic precautions. And if we do that, then most of we will be able to see that the trends will go down. But if you just mentioned to you, for example, Jowai and Nongpo and Tura, the oxygen plants are going to be set up in the next 1 week. They have enough beds. Enough means, well, there's never enough, but we will be enhancing the number of beds out there, which will be supported by oxygen. So close to about maybe 40, exactly depending on the size of the plant, which I don't have details with me right now, but anything between 30 to 50 beds in every district, the major districts will have, in the civil hospital, will have oxygen supported beds. This is a high flow oxygen I'm talking about. And in places like Tura, we have already sanctioned and given the work order for the 100-bedded COVID facility, which will also have all 100 beds with oxygen. Obviously, we'll have to fill it up with cylinders and put it there. Similarly, in Jowai also. So, similarly in Jowai and Nongpo, also somewhere there will be civil hospitals, somewhere we're going for the MCH, the Mother and Child Hospital. So, depending on locations. So, you're right, we have realize this importance of ensuring that the rural infrastructures also are upgraded. So this work for this has started almost about 2 weeks back. And now, as I said, the work as we speak is going on. And we're hopeful that 3-4 locations I mentioned just now, the oxygen plants will be up in about a week's time. And then the other 3-4 locations in about 2 weeks' time. So almost all the district headquarters will have some form of oxygen supported beds, to ensure that if there's any kind of district situation, then at least basic facilities are there for the people. Its own plus and its own minuses. The plus point is that obviously person is at the comfort of the home, the asymptomatic, the inconvenience is not there. We have to understand it does become emotionally very, very stressful for the individual. So therefore, in the first half, we saw people, first half I mean to say last year in the first wave, we saw people mostly because of the fear. A lot of people did not go to home and they went for the isolation centers given by the government. But this year we saw a lot of people going for home isolation, and we have been encouraging home isolation because there's obviously logistical challenges are there when we have large quarantine centers and isolation centers. So it does make a lot of sense even from a logistics point of view. But yes, the point that if the protocols are broken at house, if the individuals who are positive don't contain themselves in the room that they're meant to be and still mix around with the rest of the family members, then obviously the virus will spread. And that's the reason why we are stressing this whole week on a very aggressive program to stress on this entire program of ensuring that protocols are followed even when you're in the house. So you need to wear the mask, and especially people who are positive, they need to ensure that they don't mix with anybody. But at the same time, we also realize that there are a lot of places and houses and individuals who don't have the extra room to spare. And that's the reason why last week we've decided that government will support community centers if they come up, and that will be decided by the respective BDOs and the DCs which area requires, along with the headmans and the local leaders, on which areas should have these community centers. So that's a kind of a double kind of pronged strategy we have gone ahead with this. But yes, what you're saying has got a lot of points in it, in the sense that if the protocols are not followed at home and if the people take it easy, they're at home, so they relax and they mix with everybody, then yes, that's what's leading to the spread even. Because whenever the cases come out, we're finding that the whole family is turning out to be positive. In fact, now we're coming up with many more. So therefore, we are always open to positive suggestions. But I would like to inform the state also and the opposition also that government has already taken steps for that. And apart from civil hospital, now the TB hospital in Shillong, Saudi will also become a full-fledged hospital. At the same time, we also have already given the work order to set up 100-bedded facility for COVID, specifically COVID, with all the facilities in it, So therefore, all these steps have already been taken. And I'm happy to also inform you that the Honorable Speaker has called a meeting of all the political parties on Wednesday at 2:30, where we will be presenting all this information to members of the opposition as well as other political parties. Beds will be created in the next few days in different parts of the city with the help of the community. And at the same time, we are also working very aggressively. We have already almost completed the beds in 300 beds in IIM, and this is the old campus, and the Marti about 100, and NIFT also 100. We are also looking at supporting these centers, at least 50% of these beds with oxygen concentrators, so that in case there are patients who require basic support of oxygen, can be given oxygen through these centers also. The issue that we face is that it's not just one section of the community or society, but then it is impacting a lot of people. So if we do go into this, then we will have to consider many more professions also. So therefore, the economic impact it will have is huge. So we understand the challenges that they are facing, and that's the reason why when one of you had asked me about closing things, locking things down, that's the reason why it's not the easiest decision to make. So we are hopeful, as I said, that things will improve. I urge and I request everybody to bear with us. This is a tough time, but we all need to work together in this, and I'm hopeful that, as I said, we will come through in the coming weeks. We'll see the situation improve. Inventions, or whatever we call them, that come in is something that's a positive thing for us. So I'm hopeful that it will work. I'm sure that the DRDO is very, very efficient, and they must have done their homework and research and come out with this medication. But it's restricted use, only for emergency use. So only in hospitals it will be available, and only for patients who are in a serious situation. So therefore, let us see and hope that it comes out, that it has the desired impact. And if it does, then it will be a great blessing for not just the COVID patients, but society at whole, as a whole. Obviously, if that is the case, we will take necessary action in that, and will ensure that the containment takes place. The BDOs have been given the power to contain zones which they feel need to be contained, and therefore, if there are people who are not implementing it and not following these orders, then necessary action will have to be taken, and we'll ensure that we take all the local headmen and local representatives on board and take the step. Structures. These are more like boxes which are ready-made. They come ready-made and they just fit it right there. They have got full air circulation systems in it. They have got ICU facility options in it. So each of these beds, facilities will have 10% of the ICU beds in them. So this should be up in max 30 to 45 days is what we're looking at. That means by July. So that's, of course, has been a relief. The different kind of support in terms of the food, grains that they give every now and then for the poorer section of society, those things help. But they have given, as I said last time, they've given support for the COVID hospital. Then we decided, initially we thought we'll put it in one location, but then we realized that we can do it better by having a prefab structure. And yeah, that's what I'm saying. So we have only received 42,000 shots for the 18 plus category. We need 30 lakh for the 18 plus category. So we still need 29.5 lakh shots for the 18 plus category. 18 to 45.